From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Becoming Thin Podcast, and I am your host, Chris Terrell. And welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you, champion? What new challenges did you encounter? But more importantly, what failure did you go through, and what lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now, don't let a perfectly good failure go by without you getting your lesson. That's your reward for your troubles, after all. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting. Up, down, up again. Before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my real-life lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and to my systems of belief. Because it's all 6 of those things that create the results in my life, and it's the same 6 things that create the results in yours, too. And if you want to get permanent, meaningful, and lasting changes, you're going to have to go make permanent, meaningful, and lasting changes to those 6 things in your life, too. Your actual habits. You know, how you spend your days every day, and not just the habits when you're happy. You got to work on the habits when you're mad, sad, and otherwise disoriented in some way from your own damn emotions. You got to change the routines. You got to change your belief systems. You're going to have to change the people you hang out with. You're going to have to add some to your life, remove some from your life. Your environment. Oh, yes. That's going to have to change. And I don't just mean getting all the tempting, triggering vice foods out of your home. Yes, you need to do that. Your home is your fortress, after all. Might as well set your fortress up for success. But you got to go further than that. Because your environment is the entire world around you. But that pesky one, the 6th one, your systems of belief, your thinking, your thoughts, your subconscious. You got to change all that stuff. Look, if you come out the other side of the weight loss journey thinking the same thoughts you did when you started it, I want you to know you are more than likely going to become a statistic. You are more than likely going to gain all your weight back. Are you going to be the one in however many people that manage to keep it off through white-knuckling it and micromanaging every little part of your life? Sure. I see people on Reddit all the time talking about the only way they maintain it is they have to hyper-focus and manage every little detail. That's because they did not learn how to do it a different way. But you are learning how to do it a different way, aren't you? You see, I want to help people obtain the body and life of their dreams. And you know, the life of my dreams does not involve me counting my damn calories for the rest of my life. The life of my dreams does not involve me having to give up foods that there's no reason to give up because I don't have a health reason telling me to give them up. And I want that for you too. And I know some of you listening, you're like, no, Chris, if you understood me, if you understood my mind, you would know that I actually have to give up sugar because I'm a sugar addict. I don't think that's true, but sure, if you believe that and you want to go down that rabbit hole and think you're a sugar addict and cut out sugar, go for it. But the moment you start eating sugar anyway, you need to stop asking yourself to do that plan. One of the things I realize that's so helpful is only make changes that you're willing to make for the next 10 years. If you're not willing to make it, go make a different one. But Chris, giving up sugar is going to make everything work better. But you ain't going to do it. And the best plan is the one you'll actually do. Always remember that. The best plan is the one you'll actually do for 10 years. Not the one you'll do right now. It's the one you'll do for 10 years. But there is something that you're going to have to figure out how to get yourself to stop doing even if you don't want to do it. That's emotional eating. Now, emotional eating is a spectrum. A lot of people, when they think emotional eating, they think binge eating disorder, bulimia nervosa, orthorexia. And don't get me wrong, these are serious things. These are very, very serious, and they need serious attention. Probably not for me. I mean, the stuff I'm talking about is going to help you, but you're going to need more. You're going to need some more to go on top of it. But you see, the basics will still help you. And that's what I really want to help as many people as possible do. Master the basics. And the basics actually have quite a bit to it. It really does. Like the basics are basic and they're simple, but when you're not doing any of the basics, even that's a real big deal. Let me give you a totally different example of what I'm talking about to illustrate this concept from my old life in commercial cleaning. So imagine a blinds, like the twisty blinds like you might have in cheap apartments or regular apartments, the little plastic ones they give you, all over the place in commercial office buildings, those things. You have to dust them. If you don't dust them, it becomes a problem. So if you dust them all the time, you just walk by with a duster and knock the dust off, no biggie, no problem. You just do it as you go, dust them once a week, once every other week, and it usually is no problem. Maybe even once a month if the building's not super dusty, no problem. But what happens if you go 10 years and not dust them? Well, now you can't just walk by with a duster and go and knock the dust off. No. You have to wash them. Now, all of a sudden, you have to pay a bunch of extra money and spend a bunch of time to get the blinds clean, right? It's a whole bunch of work, but it's a whole bunch of work because it was neglected. It wasn't taken care of. So it feels like a lot of work at first because it, is a lot of work. But once you have them clean, now you can combine and just knock the dust off as you go. So the basics of weight loss are like just the regular dusting, or the basics of weight management. It's just like regular dusting. But if you've been neglecting the basics and not been doing them for so long, now it's sort of you have to spend a little bit of extra effort in the beginning to get it up and going. With emotional eating, that's going to be the case because you often have to start with awareness. You have to start with understanding the motive. And something I've started really, really trying to drill into the people I work with is in the beginning of emotional eating work, success looks like failure from the outside to someone that doesn't get it. It looks like failure from the outside from someone that doesn't get it. Because for many of us, when we started emotional eating, we weren't even aware that we were emotionally eating. We just called it getting dinner. We just called it having a snack, watching TV. Sure, there were some times I was well aware of what I was doing, but not a lot of the times, right? Like you can have ice cream every day. You can have 1,000 calories of ice cream every day if you offset it with the other food choices throughout the day. But I didn't know that. I didn't think of it like that. I just got ice cream. And so you have to create awareness to the problem and you go, oh, I think I'm emotionally eating. And then you eat all the food anyway, right? But that right there is progress because if you reflect backwards, you're like, well, I was never thinking I was emotionally eating at the time I was doing it. It was always retroactive. It was always a day later, 2 days later, a week later, a month later. I'm looking back going, no, that was an emotional eat. It's like, cool. I'm glad you're recognizing it. But like, you're just beginning your journey of getting to the place where you are presently aware that you're emotionally eating presently, like in the moment. I'm like, I'm emotionally eating this food right now as I'm putting it in my face hole. But once you do that, once you've arrived with your presence, now you can begin to work on shifting your behavior in the moment. Not as easy as it sounds. And so that's why a lot of us fail in the beginning because the behavior, the outward behavior doesn't change drastically to an outsider. They can't see it because the initial changes on the inside can't be seen by others. James Clear in the book Atomic Habits calls it the law of latent potential, I believe is what he calls it. He uses a beautiful visual. When I say beautiful, not because it's pretty, beautiful as in it's such a great way to illustrate this concept. But let's say you have an ice cube. Remember, ice melts at above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you put a hot plate, a skillet on the stove, right? But the skillet, you pulled it out of the freezer. The skillet was in the freezer, so it's already very cold. And you have an ice cube, and you put the ice cube on the skillet, and you turn up the heat. As soon as you turned on the heat, after a couple seconds, you're like, the ice cube's not melting. It's not working. This isn't working. We're not making any progress. The ice cube's not melting. But of course the ice cube's not going to melt. The skillet is 20 degrees. The ice cube is below freezing. So the conditions have not been met yet for the ice to begin melting. But the heat is being applied and is slowly altering the conditions. And so the progress is being made, but if you're just watching the skillet and the ice cube, you won't know. Eventually, though, the skillet reaches the right temperature. It goes above 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and the ice immediately begins to melt. But the work was being done the entire time. And that's what the first part of emotional eating looks like. The work was being done the entire time. So what I'm going to bring to you today, I go live every Monday morning on YouTube at right around 9 a.m. You can just search for that on Becoming Thin on YouTube. You'll find it. And unless I'm traveling or something, I've been doing it every week now for years. I used to do it on Facebook. Now I do it on YouTube because Facebook's is a butthead with how they do things. They will copyright strike me in the middle of a live stream for playing music when no music was played, and they cancel the live stream and nobody else can find it. It's super annoying. So I bounced off that stupid platform. I really don't like Meta. Oh, by the way, you want to come join the Becoming Thin Facebook group? Right after I'm just dogging on Facebook. But for real, Becoming Thin Search for that on Facebook. You'll find it's a great place to interact here with the podcast. I regularly will go in there and grab questions and answer them here on the show. You can go interact with other podcast listeners, people that are trying to lose weight the right way. It's a great place to meet people. So head on over there, Becoming Thin on Facebook. But anyway, in case you've never listened to one of the live streams, we had a great one on Monday. I actually really liked this one. And what I did is edited out the discussion portion where every live stream I come with a topic. In the first little bit, I just interact with everybody in the audience. We just talk, catch up, say, hey, super casual. But then I move into okay, here's the topic for the day that we're going to talk about. And this one was an emotional eating topic. And when it was over, I was like, I think I'm going to use that for the podcast. So I edited it up this week, and I'm about to switch over to that. Hope you enjoy this episode. It's about 38 minutes after this point, so you're going to have a good, nice, long podcast this week again. Enjoy it. And if you found it to be enjoyable and you found it to be useful and you like listening to the podcast, I'm willing to bet you're going to like the Monday morning live streams. And here's the cool thing about live streams. If you can't catch it live, no problem, because they're all left up for replay. You can just come watch them anytime. All the live streams that I've been doing on YouTube are there. You can go back and watch them. There's a lot of really great ones there. But if you can come live, the comments are great. There's so many wonderful people that come hang out in the comments section. And I would love to have you just come be a part of it. I love seeing the familiar faces that show up and getting to interact with you. We will regularly talk about wins and do celebrations for that first half on the fun part. And I'd love to see you there. So without further ado, I'd now present to you the Becoming Thin Monday Morning Motivation live stream. Today, I wanted to talk about emotional eating. So if you have not yet picked up this book and read it, you need to. Your best time to have read it was before you got big and got taken over by emotional eating. Second best time to read it is now. So this book, I was at a bookstore in Washington, D.C. several years ago. Whenever I go into a bookstore, I've been doing this for years, I always go to the diet, exercise sections, health sections, anything where I might see stuff about weight loss. And I got to tell you, 95% at least of the books that you will see in a major bookstore with regards to weight management, with diet, with helping you learn how to lose weight and helping you overcome emotional eating are complete and total dog shit. Not only that, a good chunk of the books at a bookstore are contributing to the problem. It's not that they're not helping. They're actually making it worse. But they're doing it in the name of making it better, which is often the case with a lot of parts of society, right? We tend to make things worse while we're trying to make it better. Not unusual. So I usually don't buy a book. I usually do not. Anyway, so I'm at the bookstore and I'm looking down, and on the spines, I'm reading all the books. So I do that whole head sideways thing and I read every book. And I see this one. It says 8 Keys to End Emotional Eating. I was like, I have never seen a book like that. I've never seen a title like that. I've been in lots of bookstores for years looking. I'm like, I've never seen it. Only one copy. I've never seen it before. I think it's because the DC Barnes & Noble bookstore in Tyson's Corner, if you know where it is, you'll understand it's a pretty decent, well-provisioned bookstore, and always has been. And so I picked it up and I looked at it and I was like, well, that's kind of cheap. I'm like, a professional publisher didn't do this. I'm like, this is stock art. Like, this is stock photo. And then I'm like, I was just looking at it. I'm like, I don't know. And I open it up and I'm like, it seems, but I was like, but for whatever reason, I felt compelled to get it. I'm like, all right. So I grabbed it, bought it, threw it on the stack of books. I usually have a stack of books. I'm like, I'm going to get to them as I get to them. And this one sat there for a long, long time. I don't remember, maybe a year, half a year. I don't know, a while. And I wanted to work through some stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's pick this up. And I read it. And I actually didn't even read it. I just jumped to key number 4, understand the motive. I just thought, you know what? I don't know the motive of emotional eating. And I just started reading it. And then I couldn't put it down. And then I pulled out my notes and I'm just frantically taking notes. I'm like, this is making so many things make sense. Oh my gosh, I see why I was doing this. Like, I'm just like reading it. I'm like, what in the world? I read the one paragraph, the understand the motive. I didn't read another one for a while. I just kept rereading that one because that one just blew my mind. I'm like, I'll get to the others. I'm still absorbing what's in this. And then I just sat down and I just read the book cover to cover in like a couple days. And it's just like, this explains so much. This explains so much. And so I started teaching it to people, the stuff that was in it. I'm like, I got to teach this to people. So I made my Understanding and Overcoming Emotional Eating course, which is my take on some of the concepts in here. Because I'm able to, he is not a lived experience. He was a clinical psychologist who specialized in the treatment of emotional eating. And with behavioral health was a big part of what he does. And he's since passed away, unfortunately. And then other people started talking about, like, Chris, like this is explaining so much. This is helping me understand things. And the interesting thing is when you begin to understand something, it becomes easier to work through it. And so, but we have to remember, I know I do weight loss coaching. I know I have the Guild. I know I have the Becoming Thin. I know I look like a thin person. And for many of you, you've only ever seen me as a thin person. Like, this is the only way you ever know me. But we have to remember, like, this is where I started. Like, this is at the very beginning of my journey right here. This is what I look like before my journey started. This is me right after I started my journey. This is me sometime the year before. This was normal. Like, this is just how I looked. This was, if I closed my eyes and thought, what does Chris Terrell look like? That's what I pictured. Because I was just a big guy. I'd been a big guy. It's all I'd ever known was being a big guy. I didn't know any other way. So for many of you, you don't know that. Like, it's easy to forget it and just see me this way. But it's, hi, my name's Chris Terrell, and I'm an emotional eater in recovery. I'm a recovering emotional eater. And I wish I could tell you that once I got thin, once I learned all about food, once I learned about movement, once I fell in love with exercise, once I understood why I emotionally ate, I wish I could tell you that meant the urge and desire to emotionally eat goes away. It didn't. I hate to use sober. That's not the right word, but I'm going to use it just for the sake of conversation today. But I've been free from the grips of it for, I don't know. I don't actually know, because I definitely emotionally ate while I was still losing weight. And I definitely still emotionally ate my first year of maintenance. It was less. And it just kept getting less and less and less and less and less and less. Anyway, it's been years. But the urges, the voices to, like, the food will make you feel better, they're still there. They're just lying in wait, waiting for something to awaken them. And then the voices come back and they just start talking. They start telling you all these things you could be doing that would make you feel better, to distract you from the whatever you want to be distracted from. It doesn't really matter, I guess. It's just whenever the voices want to distract you. And if I didn't know what was in this, and if I didn't know the other things I've learned that I teach that's not in this, because this isn't everything, right? You're not going to read this and know everything. There's more to learn. But this is going to give you such a huge leap. It would be like saying reading the Alcoholics Anonymous Bible is going to give you everything you need to be sober and free from alcohol. And no, there's more to it. There's a lot that has to be learned just by doing. So, hey, I've seen many of you have read this book. If you don't mind, I know many of you just did it, but if you could, in the chat, tell me if you've read this book and if you would recommend it to others. Again, I know a few of you have already did that. Let me know in the chat, just so people can those that haven't read it can understand. Like, this is something that, like, if you have struggled with your weight your entire adult life, I don't make recommendations of books you should read very, very lightly, that I think everybody should read, because I really don't think that's the case. I don't think every book is good for everyone. There's really only 2 books that I recommend everybody read. Well, there's more, but these are the 2 that are like my right away. And they're not books you read once. These are books you study. You absorb the knowledge into your mind. And it's these 2 books, Psycho-Cybernetics and The 8 Keys to End Emotional Eating. You need to know what is in these books. It needs to alter your thinking. You need to think naturally the thoughts that these books talk about. So this is my copy. It lives here. It lives with me when I travel. It goes with me. Let's see if I can show you this. I want you to see the pages. Can you see that? So I dogged all the corners of the pages. It's very marked up, very highlighted, lots of underlines, because I regularly go through this thing. I use the index a lot. I even now will write in certain things that I need a quick reference, because I'm like, I got to think of the right way to think of this. And I'll put it in here. So if you're struggling with emotional eating, get this and read it. There is an audiobook. I think the audiobook is great, but I really recommend getting the book too. And I will regularly just pick it up and just like flip to a random section and then just read. And then I'll flip to another section and just read. And then I'll flip to another section and just read. I do that all the time. I have to make sure sometimes to go near the ends and go near the front because I discovered I was reading the middle sections a lot. But I thought maybe we could go through some of my favorite sections of the book and do a little bit of the random flipping, if that's okay. Is that okay? I mean, you can't stop me because it's my live stream. So I'm just going to do it anyway. So, but we'll throw the comments up. I'll keep an eye out on those. And I thought we could go through some of my favorite stuff. So let's do this. So I have one tab right here. Only one. See that little red tab? I've only got one. I'm very stingy with my tabs where I put them because it has to be something like Psycho-Cybernetics has only a few tabs that stick out, and they're the cheapies even. I'm very stingy with those. I dog the ears of them. But it's because I learned about something in this book, and this tab takes me about a little few pages where it's just like, wow, these handful of pages right here really explain a lot. So let's go to this. For anybody that happens to have a copy, I'm on page 95. We're going to start on page 93 because this is one of the earliest pages that just went and just blew my mind and helped me really bring a lot of things into understanding. It's called Don't Think About Reverse Psychology. Marketers create slogans that appeal to the part of us that wants to reject expectations and defy the rules. Ads will often describe their products as sinfully delicious, a guilty pleasure, or a decadent indulgence. An ad for a hotel in Las Vegas has the tagline, just the right amount of wrong. There's even a menu item at a St. Louis custard stand called the Cardinal Sin Sundae. Advertising baits illustrates a basic feature of human nature. We're drawn to what we're told we can't or feel we shouldn't have. As Police Chief Wiggum of The Simpsons asked his son, "What is your fascination with my forbidden closet of mystery?" And when I read that for the first time, I still remember because this was such a clarity. I was like, me, Chris Terrell, am drawn to something that I'm told I can't have. And it's weird. Just saying, hey, this is here, but you're not allowed to know it, makes me want to know it. It triggers a curiosity bug in me. Does that do that to you? If it does, tell me in the chat. If you feel that curiosity buzz that comes up when you find something that you can't have. And I'm thinking of weight loss. I'm like, wait, with food, I would do this with food. Is me saying I can't have a food, does that actually make me want it more just because I said I couldn't have it? I was thinking that. So advertisers understand the effect that the opportunity to be bad, especially when the risk is low, has on consumers. And then right there, ding, light bulb moment. It's not that I said I couldn't have the food. That alone might get me to do it. It's that it would be bad to do it. Saying I can't have it and crossing the line would be wrong makes me want to do it more, which makes me feel shame for wanting to do something that I think is bad. What? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? That doesn't make sense at all. But I'm reading this, I'm like, but that is what I do. And I've learned now, by the way, when I read this, I was not really into marketing. For the last 3 years, by nature of what I do for work, I have learned a ton about marketing. Marketers know all this shit. They're manipulating his 6 ways to Sunday to get you to buy something, to get you to do something. And they use, sometimes, you can't have it. Advertisers understand the effect that the opportunity to be bad, especially when the risk is low. Remember that line. We're going to come back to it. The momentary sense of liberation that comes from breaking free of control allows us to regain a sense of autonomy over how we conduct our lives. I refer to this as the transgressive motive because it drives us to engage in behavior that feels subversive. We do it in spite of the possible negative consequences or private guilt that may occur later because the momentary feeling of freedom that it offers outweighs the cost. I have that underlined. The momentary feeling of freedom that it offers outweighs the cost. And I'm just reading, I'm like, that's exactly what I would do. And I'm realizing at the time I was reading this, you have to understand, I did not realize I had transfer addictioned many things. I had just swapped out food and TV show, movies, and video games for other things. There's a whole story for why I was looking into this. We'll get into that some other time. One reason this happens, this paragraph right here, this is it. This one just like introduced a concept and a word and a phrase, a term to me that completely altered how I see my own behaviors. And if you're a kind of person that likes to be aware, if you're the kind of person that likes to align yourself with truth, and if you're the kind of person that does not like to be ruled by your emotional impulses, understanding this is the doorway to actually being in control of yourself. Because if you don't know what this is talking about, if you don't know this is happening, you won't be looking for it. Because when it happens to you, it feels natural. It feels right. Because if you let your emotions dictate what is true, you're going to fuck up your life. Because emotions don't know truth. Emotions just know the story means this, and they react to the story. Emotions don't care about reality. They care about the story, the meaning, what's going to happen. So, this is big. One reason this happens is that when you're told to do something, it feels like a threat to your freedom. And you want to do the opposite to hold on to your ability to choose. This is known as psychological reactance. It describes a tendency of people to react against any outside control over their behavior. This perceived control is not limited to heavy-handed pressure. It can even be a simple suggestion that someone makes. The reaction is not a response to the merits of what the other person is suggesting. It's an instinctive reaction to any unsolicited influence that feels like a limitation on one's freedom. Every human has a certain need for autonomy and freedom. And every human has a different level of need for autonomy and freedom in different parts of their life. You will find in some parts of your life, you don't mind giving up some freedom. Like driving in traffic. Most of us don't mind giving up some freedom because there's traffic lights. It's okay. But many of us do care about freedom with, let's say, of like, what do I eat? So I need to read this again, but we're going to break it down. When you're told to do something, it feels like a threat to your freedom, and you want to do the opposite to hold on to your ability to choose. Many of us have noticed this in teenagers where they're beginning to understand freedom, and they will say no to something just to say no. Just because you told them to do it, they're going to say no. Many of you know people in your life that are this way. They're so sensitive to control that if you tell them to do something, even if it is in their own best interest, even if they have even actually would want to do it, just because you said to do it, they will not. That is a term called psychological reactance. But this next line down here was really, really important. The reaction is not a response to the merits of what the other person is suggesting. That means the psychological reactance gets triggered not due to what you're being told, just it is simply because you're being told to do something. You can't have this food because it'll make you gain weight and it'll be off your plan. Now you want it more because some source of authority said you can't have it. Just because a source of authority said you can't have it, you now psychologically instantly want it more. Now, when I first learned about this, and I'm thinking about this concept of merits, I decided, because I like to be present and I like to observe my own mind as I'm living in real time, not retroactive, real time. And I noticed one time I was driving and it was suggested to take an exit. My hand was already reaching towards the blinker. I just hadn't hit it yet. And I felt myself I pulled my finger back from the blinker, waited a few seconds, and then flipped it on. And I was sitting there and I read this concept and I was like, I just did it right there. I just did it with a fucking blinker. I was going to turn it on anyway. The person doesn't know. I was literally reaching for the blinker with my fingers. But you can't see it because it's on the other side of the steering wheel. And I brought them back just so I was in control. I have to be in control. And I watched myself do this in real time. Because again, I like to be present and watch my thoughts in real time. And I was like, wow, I was watching myself do it and I still did it. I didn't put the connection there of psychological reactance, but I started like, okay, what did that feel like? Psychological reactance. Like, can I detect it? And so I started noticing whenever people would tell me to do something, there's this feeling that it wells up within my chest. I can feel it. It's like wow, this is like trying to describe what wind feels like. Hold on. Let me get in my head. I got to imagine it. It's like it's on the front of my chest. It's not in the back. It's not in deep. It's on the front, like almost like the muscles. It's not the muscles though. It's like it's like a tightening, a tension. It's subtle. It's gentle. But if I really care, it gets like, wow, I've never tried to describe this before. This is the first time I've ever tried to do it. This is fun. Anyway, I've noticed that feeling. It's that feeling of me resisting being told to do something, but I wanted to do it anyway. And it creates a conflict because I want to do it. But if I do it, I feel like I'm not doing it because I wanted to do it. I feel like I'm doing it because the person told me to do it. And that means I'm not in control and I don't get the credit. And I've realized that is my ego. Psychological reactance is born out of my ego. But you see, if you're not paying attention, you won't notice it in real time. And noticing it retroactively does you no fucking good because you've already acted. Man, my coffee's getting cold. All right, continuing on here. Psychological reactance. Pay attention to it today. This week, see if you notice it. All right, continuing on. Here's an example from my own recent experience. Oh, no, we'll skip ahead. All right, yeah, now we're going to hop over to page 96. The archetypal tale of defiance and transgression is also the origin of the expression forbidden fruit. It is perhaps the most appropriate example to represent the motive for emotional eating. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve disobeyed the warning against eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and as punishment they were banished from paradise. The moral that's usually drawn from this is that it's important to obey authority and control your impulse to give in to temptation. However, as described in Genesis, the Garden of Eden was full of every tree that was pleasant to the sight of good for food. By the way, some of y'all that aren't Christians, if you're like tuning out because this is using Bible verses, hi, welcome to Psychological Reactance. You need to just chill the fuck out, okay? So back to what I'm saying. However, as described in Genesis, the Garden of Eden was full of every tree that was pleasant to the sight and good for food. Not only did the fruits of all the trees look equally tempting, but Adam was actually told to enjoy them all. Well, all except that one. In fact, the only thing Adam and Eve knew about the fruit of the tree of good and evil was that they would die if they ate from it. Now, given all their options of tree fruits that were not only delicious but also safe to eat, how tempting could the fruit of that one forbidden tree have been? Hold on, I wrote notes here on the side. I'm going to see if I want to read these yet. No, not yet. In his book, Escape from Freedom, psychologist Erich Fromm points out how we judge the disobedience of Adam and Eve depends on one's perspective. From the standpoint of the church, which represents authority, it is essentially sin. From the standpoint of man, however, this is the beginning of human freedom. Fromm interprets the message of the Eden story in a way that's consistent with the concept of reactance. It is that intrinsic part of human nature is to resist limits placed on our autonomy. Let me read that again. That is an intrinsic part of human nature. That an intrinsic part of human nature is to... All right, hold on. I'm reading that sentence terribly. Let me try that one more time. An intrinsic part of human nature is to resist limits placed on our autonomy. An intrinsic part of human nature is to resist limits placed on our autonomy. Our natural tendency is to violate and go against something, that we perceive to be a limit on our autonomy. It doesn't have to actually be one. It just needs to be perceived as one. I wrote here on my side little note here in the margin. perceptions or perspective determines perception, and perception is reality to the perceiver. So if the perceiver believes what they're being told is a limitation on their freedom, they are going to react as if it were a limitation on their freedom. And when a person feels as if their freedom has been limited, regardless if it is or not, if they just feel that way, they are going to push back. It is a natural human tendency, but they may not necessarily push back on the actual source of control. What I've now learned is what that feeling is when you feel a threat to your autonomy, what you then are feeling as a compensatory emotion is defiance. I want to defy this authority. But what do you do if it's an authority you do not believe you can defy? Let's say, for example, this is again why this section just unlocked things for me. Let's say at your job, you feel like a cog in a wheel. You feel completely powerless and out of control to everything that's happening. You feel like you can't get out of it. It's the best job you can do. And there's all these problems at work that you're powerless to change. And yet you keep having to clean up the messes, but you can't stop the messes from occurring. But you know how to stop the messes from occurring, but you can't. And so you're getting stressed. You're getting frustrated. You go to your boss. You talk about it. And nobody's doing anything. And you are just feeling this defiant energy. I need to push back. But you can't, because if you flip out, you'll lose your job. And you need this job because you're living paycheck to paycheck because you don't have an emergency fund outside of maybe a month or two. So you can't just walk because you don't got that fuck you money. And so now you have to keep going to this job that you hate because you got to keep paying the mortgage. You got to keep sending the kids to get them all they need because kids get expensive. You got to take care of your own hobbies because you got expensive hobbies. You got to take care of your family things. You want to go on a vacation and you'd like to save for retirement. And so you feel like you can't leave. And yet you're feeling all this threat to your freedom and you're just totally out of control. And you're like, I just want to defy it so bad, but you can't. But you can't. Because if you do, you'll lose your job and you don't want to face all the consequences. There are very real, actual consequences if you defy. So what do? You have this defiant energy that needs to be expressed. So what does defiant energy want to do? It wants to defy. So if I can't defy all these problems at work, that trusty little diet that people tell me I have to do. Can't eat this, can't eat that. Oh, if you do this, you're going to get fat, Chris. You got to do all this stuff or you can't do this. Otherwise, you're bad. You know what? Fuck you, the rules. And then you go after your diet. Because when I violate this and I gorge myself in private, nobody knows. There's no social repercussions. And not only that, I made it socially acceptable by making sure I'm friends with other emotional leaders. We call them my eating buddies. Just like alcoholics don't want to feel bad when they're soothing all their problems with alcohol, they get their drinking buddies. Hey, y'all, you want to go out to happy hour on a Tuesday? And you're like, you get plastered like every day. But they don't want to go with me because I'm going to make them feel bad because I'm going to get one drink maybe and then leave. And they're going to want to keep drinking. I'm like, nah, man, I got to go. I'm not going to have 4 drinks. So what are they going to do? They're going to find other people that drink so that they don't feel bad, so that they can feel guilt-free for drinking. And what do we do with food? We make it where it's okay. Oh, this is so good. Oh, I shouldn't have any more. This is so bad. Oh, this is too much ice cream. Oh, don't tempt me. 2 sandwiches for the price of 1. Oh, well, I couldn't. It's a good deal. We have all these little things that I'd say to myself. What about you? What about you? And when I'm reading this page, it's like so much is clicking in my mind. So much. So much. If you want to lose weight, and believe that dieting demands discipline and control, it suggests that you feel there's some authority who is questioning your choices and dictating what to do. That's why I don't tell you exactly what to do. People come to the guild, they come to my programs, Chris, where's my plan? I'm like, you don't understand. If I give you a plan, I have just given you the perfect thing to defy. No plan. What do you mean no plan? No plan. No, that doesn't work, Chris. I need a plan. No, you don't. Yes, I do, Chris. Okay, fine. I've done this and I've helped thousands of other people do it. You've not done it and you've helped nobody do it. Sure, go with your idea. Sure, you don't need a plan. Yes, I do, Chris. No, you've been chasing plans for 20 years. How's that worked out for you? Because the plan is literally, it's so tasty to violate for an emotional leader. It is so tasty. So tasty for an emotional leader. That's why I don't give them to you. You have to learn how to lose weight. And never say no. Never say unforbidden. You can't have it. Anytime you say, I cannot do this, people come in the guild and I love it when a person's like, Chris, I've had a 2-year tracking streak. I'm like, cool, break it today. What? Break it. No, break it. No, break it. Like, no. You don't understand. You're setting your foot. I can't have carbs. What do you mean you can't have carbs? Why? Oh, it's just right to not have carbs. Help me understand. Why? No, you're just making an arbitrary rule. And I know what you're doing. It's in case of emergency, break glass. You got the perfect binge waiting for you when life just gets too stressful. Continue on. It may be another person, like a healthcare, or when I'm actually back up. If you want to lose weight and believe that eating demands discipline and control, it suggests that you feel there is some authority who is questioning your choices and dictating what to do. It may be another person, like a healthcare provider, family member, or fitness coach. More often, though, the authoritarian voice comes from within you, your superego, if you prefer. Our natural response is to defy this kind of control. And in the process, we may even go against our own clear preferences. If it seems strange to think of pressure that you put on yourself as external control, remember that perception is reality. And the need to diet can feel imposed. No one denies themselves the freedom to eat what they want because they enjoy feeling deprived or hungry. People diet only when they feel they ought to do so. When you're offered dessert and you say, I can't, I'm on a diet, your words reflect the sense that the source of control isn't you. You probably do want it, and you can choose to have it if you feel that it's okay to do so, but the only reason you can't is because you feel that you're not allowed to eat dessert, not because you don't want to. That section right there, that's what I just read right here. Starred, underlined, that's the one that got the tab. That is why diets don't fucking work. That's why plans don't work. It's why you got to change your lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and belief systems, because it gets around all this. But it's harder, but it actually works and it actually sticks. You go diet, if you're an emotional eater, a diet is the worst thing you can go on, but you can still lose weight while working on your emotional eating. You can. But you have to do it in a different way. That's why when people come to the guild and they get so confused sometimes because they're like, none of this looks like what I'm used to. I'm like, yeah, it shouldn't look like what you're used to. If it looks like what you're used to, you're going to get the results that you're used to. Do you want the results that you're used to, or would you like to become thin and stay thin forever? Or would you like to take a round trip ticket to Thinville, visit it, get your hopes up, then lose control, find yourself all the way back where you were and feel all that guilt and shame that comes with it? Would you like to do that? I don't like doing that. I did that for 20-something years. I hated it. Stupid roller coaster. Did not like that train. I'm going to read this again. People diet only when they feel they ought to do so, which is why one of my biggest rules I tell people is never invoke the weight loss card. When you have to say no to something, never, ever, ever to yourself or to anybody else invoke the weight loss card. Find some reason to say no that has nothing to do with weight loss. Yes, in the back of your mind, you can be aware that it's connected to weight loss, but don't talk about it. You only talk about it with your OSPs that understand the context in which you're doing this. OSPs are not people that like, oh, you're fat too, and we both want to diet all the time? Yeah, I'm so proud of you. No, that's not an OSP. An OSP is somebody that supports you and supports the way you're doing it. That's an OSP. If they're trying to get you to do it their way, they're not an OSP. An OSP says, no, you're in control. You're in power. I'm here to support you. I'm here to encourage you. That's what an OSP does. And an OSP doesn't say, well, I think you're wrong. You should do it my way. My way is better. I know what's right for you. No. And I know it's a little ironic, me as the coach, because I'm often giving advice saying you should do this. But understand, I don't want anybody to take my blind word for anything. Nothing. I want you to go test it. You go take what I'm talking about and just go test it in your own life. And you decide what you want to do. Don't do something because I said so. Go try it because I said so, and then make your own decision. That's what you should do. I don't have all the answers because I don't know your life. I don't know what you're good at. I don't know what you're bad at. I don't know. The only times I get to the place where I start giving people advice, I'm actually going to launch it this January. I'm finally ready. I've been doing it behind the scenes. But I'm going to launch my new one-on-one program. Now, I'm just going to tell you about it. First off, right away, I just want to say 99.9% of you will not be able to afford this. So I just want you to know. I do coaching on a group fashion is how I like to do it. And I do small group stuff because it works. But I do like one-on-one work, and I'm making my plan. It's called the Guaranteed Success Plan. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've been testing the Guaranteed Success Plan and trialing it for 2 years to figure it out. It's the Guaranteed Success Plan. As in, when you work with me, I guarantee success. You will be successful. You will become thin. It might take 3 to 4 years, but it will happen. I guarantee it. But this is not going to be some sit-down weekly coach. It's insanely expensive, and I'm going to get all up in your life because you are going to let me see everything. I'm going to talk to your spouse. I'm going to talk to your family. I'm going to come visit your home. I'm going to come talk to you about your job. We're going to do a deep intensive for just 6 months, me getting to know you. Yes, we'll start working on stuff as we go, but I'm giving you little things to see how you do because I'm trying to build a profile of you to identify where we need to work, where your strengths and where your weaknesses are. I can only do 1 or 2 of those at a time because of how intensive it is. That's the level of intensity I have to go to before I would even remotely feel comfortable saying, I know what you should do. And even then, there's still going to be a big heavy of like, this is what I think you should do. You make the decision. And I will work with you. Whatever decision you make, we'll pivot and we'll go that way together. And I may say, you will not do this. It's just anybody that says they know exactly what to do for you and they're not all up in your life in business and properly educated in that area, no. You'll notice you might do this with a financial planner, right? Like some of the best ones get all up in your financial picture. Some of the financial management literally manage every dollar for you, right? And that's what I'm going to do, but I'm not. But my plan relies on you managing it. I have to teach you to manage yourself because I don't want to work with you forever. I want to get you thin and then let you go and then go find the next person. I'm only going to take on one in January. 1. The Guaranteed Success Plan. It's called the Starfish Program. I'll tell people about it later. Look at the time. Wow, this is fun. Thanks for coming here with me. Hey, was this interesting? Did y'all like what we were talking about here with the emotional eating? I've been staying on this for a little bit right now. If you have, let me know in the chat. We kind of read this. Did you like it? What do you think of this format where we kind of read a section and just kind of talk about it? Was this something you found valuable or helpful? If so, again, let me know in the chat right now. Because if so, we can do more of this. I'm going to do some more live streams too. I'm going to do some evening ones. And because emotional eating is just such a big thing. And it rules my life. And I find when I'm struggling with emotional eating, that's the best time for me to learn about emotional eating is when I'm struggling on my own. I'm learning about it. So, all right, here we go. The chats are coming in. Okay. So yeah, y'all are finding this useful and helpful. Okay, great. So you see, Gail, this is the best chat I've ever been into. You make so much sense. You don't preach, you just explain it. I love it. I'll see you next Monday. I'm going to go buy these books. Yes, Gail, come back next Monday. I'm here every Monday unless I'm traveling or something at this time. I hope you really got something out of this. I might do a sale on my emotional eating course just as a standalone for anybody that might want to try it. My emotional eating course really goes into depth and thoroughly explains things. Because my goal is I really believe awareness is the first step. And if we can create the conscious awareness to what's happening, you will often know what to do. And I truly believe that you're the hero you've been waiting for your whole life. No one else. You. You know, all the pain that you go through in your life. I know sometimes life can be really, really, really difficult. And I know that sometimes the call to turn to the food can be so great and so loud that it's all you can hear. But I want to remind you that call to turn to the food is not actually a call to eat. It might seem like it is, and you might have done it so much that you believe that it is. But that call that you're hearing, go eat the food, it's a signal. It's a smoke detector. Something's wrong. Something needs my attention and care. What is it? Is it my emotions? Is it my heart? Is it a problem in life? Something is wrong and I need to deal with it. That's what that feeling is telling you. But when you turn to the food, what you're choosing is relief. You're choosing to escape it, to not work on it. And it just hits the reset switch for it to come back the next day. But if you can find the courage to not turn to the food and instead get curious, why do I feel this way? What is my mind telling me? I'm telling you, your entire world can change. It can be a really transformative thing. Thanks for being here. Can't wait to see you next week. Talk soon. Bye.